Coming up on a Paper Talk today, we'll be looking at the future of Erik ten Hag. What is going to happen? Apparently, INEOS are having these crunch talks where they're going to be sitting around a table or around the sofa discussing whether Erik ten Hag is the man to lead Manchester United forward. Let's get into it. Jay here from Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, I'm outside Old Trafford and the weather is absolutely delightful. Get your barbecues out. It might be raining, but who cares? Manchester United have won the FA Cup, beating Manchester City in the final. I'm sure you've seen all our post-match reaction. I'm sure you've seen me and Joe outside Wembley, Howson and Andy Tate in the studio. But if you haven't, go and check that out after this video, of course. And make sure you are hitting like, share and subscribe. I'm not sure what we're up to. I've not checked, but we want to get to 750,000 subscribers. So if we're not there yet, which I don't think we are, I think we're almost there, click on the subscribe link and let's get there. Loads of stories to get through, so I'll crack on. First of all, the future of Erik ten Hag, it's still up in the air. Now, the BBC and one or two other papers and publications and outlets, media outlets, have stated that INEOS are doing their review. They're having a look at the future of Erik ten Hag. We expected this. A lot of the sort of smart money was that after the FA Cup final, he would get sacked. That they'd say, right, off you go. But a lot of the smart money thought that had come after losing the FA Cup final. Everyone thought, well, City are going to win the FA Cup final. We finished 8th. It's going to be a disappointing season. INEOS will say, thank you. Off he goes, and we bring in someone else. However, he's won the FA Cup final with a very convincing performance. He got it right. And he made his case in his post-match interview. He spoke about missing players. He spoke about injuries. He spoke about the difference you can see in a team when certain players are back. And he was right. We saw a massive difference in Manchester United's team when we had a much stronger back four, for example. We're still missing players. Luke Shaw was out, of course. But having Varane and Lisandro Martinez made a huge difference. And he got it spot on, Erik ten Hag, and he deserves credit. I don't want to hear this nonsense about City didn't turn up. United got their tactics spot on. He deserves his flowers. Would I get rid of Erik ten Hag? Absolutely not. I hope INEOS keep him. However, I have literally zero influence on Manchester United. INEOS are going to have their meeting. They're going to make their decision. The likes of Dave Brailsford, you expect to be involved in that. I think Jean-Claude Blanc. Dan Ashworth's still on his gardening leave, still not involved. Supposedly, anyway, depends who you believe, according to certain messages that have meant to have been flying around. Omar Barada takes over soon as well. So they're going to have a discussion. Jason Wilcox, too, of course, who has started his job at Manchester United. I hope they stick with Erik ten Hag. I hope they back this manager. I think it would be a huge mistake to get rid of him and bring someone else in and start all over again. Yes, I know we have been very, very disappointed in the league, but we've won back-to-back trophies. We're now in the Europa League, which is not the greatest competition to be in, but it's a decent competition, and I certainly wouldn't mind winning it. And I think there's a little bit of positivity that you can build on. You can build on this as a fan base, as a team, as a club, and for the manager as well, because how often do we win back-to-back trophies? How often do we win the FA Cup? I think the last time we won back-to-back trophies was in 2 successive seasons, was 2009. Last time we won the FA Cup was, what, 2016? Now, people will go, oh, well, we won the FA Cup and we sacked Louis van Gaal. It can happen. It can happen, but I don't think it always should. I think there was differences with Louis van Gaal. There's 2 main differences. One, he was, no disrespect to Louis van Gaal, he was an older gentleman. He was never looked as a very, very long-term option. Plus, the football had been absolutely diabolical. And Jose Mourinho was right there. And also, Louis van Gaal was still at a different era. He was only 3 years after he'd won the Premier League. He still had some of that squad. This is completely different now. And you've got a manager who's come in, won us the FA Cup. I love winning the FA Cup. It's a fantastic trophy to win. It's absolutely been a smack in the face for a lot of the doubters and rival fans who were hammering United all season as well. It's great to see. And I think you can build on that. And I hope we do build on it. I'm old enough to remember in 1990 when Sir Alex Ferguson had us in the bottom half of the table. Everyone thought he was done. Everyone thought he should have gone. We won the FA Cup. And do you know what? Things worked out all right, didn't they? And people go, Jay, you can't compare him to Fergie. Look at the circumstances. I'm not comparing the managers. So Alex Ferguson is the greatest manager of all time. There's a bit of a debate whether it's him and Busby, which we'll get into at another time. But one of the two, either him or Busby, greatest managers of all time. I'm not saying Erik ten Hag is that. I'm saying the circumstances are very similar, where you've got a team that underperforming in the league, a manager who spent a lot of money. You get the FA Cup win. Do you build on that or do you start all over again? I hope they build on that. But we'll have to wait and see what's happening, because according to the BBC and other papers and publications and news outlets as well, they're going to have this review. Some of the names being mentioned, don't fill me with joy. I think Ornstein was saying that Chelsea aren't going to go for Kieran McKenna. There's been other reports that perhaps Brighton would go for Kieran McKenna and that he'd be open to going there, so he might be off the table. one or two of the other names being mentioned. Tuchel had success, won trophies. Is he long-term? I don't think so. Also, just been sacked or just leaving Bayern Munich after taking them to, third was it? In the Bundesliga for Bayern Munich? Not great, is it? Really not great. Also, there was reports, I think not long ago, that Dave Brailsford is a big fan of Gareth Southgate. I'm not one for inciting riots or violence, but I think the reaction, if Gareth Southgate was to take over from Erik ten Hag, would be colourful, to say the least. Let's put it that way. So get involved in the chat in the comments. Let me know what you think. Do you think Erik ten Hag should be given more time, or do you think, Jay, you're forgetting about the league, it's been rubbish. Let me know what you think. And if you don't want to see Erik ten Hag stay, let me know who you think should be the next Manchester United manager, because I'm fully Erik ten Hag in. You may not be. A couple of other stories doing the rounds as well. Casemiro, according to some publications over in Spain, will be leaving to go to Saudi Arabia. It's very sort of broad. He'll be going to Saudi. They're not even, a lot of these publications haven't even given you a club, but we know how the Saudi league works. It's a little bit different. It's not necessarily just about one specific club. It's like, look, can we get this player over here? Okay, where's he going? There's been heavy rumours, if that's a thing, linking him to a move to Saudi Arabia for quite some time now. There was a bit of intrigue, wasn't there, before the game when Casemiro wasn't in the squad. A few rumours flying around that maybe he was been told he was on the bench and didn't fancy it. The manager certainly didn't indicate that. He seems to indicate that he just wasn't available. Casemiro, we've seen that he's had a bit of a drop-off. The age of 32, people are looking at him going, it's not just a bit of form. Perhaps this is the decline of a once great player. Personally, I think it's time for him to move on. He's on huge amounts of money, so him going to Saudi Arabia makes a lot of sense to me. Let me know in the comments and the chat whether you would like to see Casemiro go, whether you think Manchester United should be trying to keep hold of him. There was an open letter from the players to the fans talking about how they basically know the season's not been good enough, but they wanted to thank the fans for all their support, especially winning the FA Cup as well. We saw Bruno Fernandez before the game when he did that Players Tribune interview, and he was speaking about the fans and the fans getting behind us and winning the FA Cup and going at Wembley and all that, and he certainly delivered on that front. I don't mind messages from the players. They're a lot easier to stomach when we've won. When you get those messages and those posts after you've lost, sometimes you're a bit like bore off. But yeah, I think the players are aware that finishing 8th at Manchester United Football Club, even with an FA Cup, isn't great. We need to improve. We need to do better. And hopefully this squad and this manager can be the ones that do that as well. Other bits as well, Alvaro Fernandez, he's made his move to Benfica permanent. The club have announced that. He's gone there. Good young left-back. Obviously wasn't fancied by Erik ten Hag. Even when we had all these issues, he never brought him back. Been on loan a couple of times, I think. I wish him well. Didn't get much of a chance at Manchester United. Was very talented and very highly sort of regarded. Just not one that the manager obviously looked at. So hopefully, anyway, he can do well at Benfica, and we wish him well. I'm going to wrap it up there. We're going to be back later on today. We're going to have the Paddock podcast. It's going to be myself, Joe Smith, and a few others. Make sure you are hitting like, share, and subscribe. I'm Jay Motty outside Old Trafford, where it's actually... Do you know what? It's clearing up. It's getting sunny. The sunshine is coming out. Thanks for watching.